What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo Effects, back at it again with another market forecast. In today's video, guys, I'm going to be giving you a little bit more in depth on how to pretty much understand and how to mark up your charts so you guys can pretty much understand my thought process behind these videos that I'm dropping, every week. So you guys pretty much can understand, like, okay, this is how he pretty much marks up his chart week in and week out, so you guys can get familiar and do the same thing, right? So you can see here that I'm starting on my weekly time frame, right? So I'm starting on my weekly time frame. Why? Because that is the higher time frame. I need to gather the data from last week so I can pretty much make a prediction of what's about to happen this week, right? So you can see on this weekly time frame, we've been talking about this level of support on NAS 100 for the last 4 videos. We see here we've been at this level of support and we've been getting this push up, right? So to end the week last week, we can see that we had this rejection candle. So that's the market telling us, okay, we are failing to break, or we're failing to move up any further, simply because we're starting to have a level of resistance being formed. So if you look to the left, you can see here that we had a level of resistance here, a level of resistance here, and now we're forming that same level of resistance here. So the story at this area, 12,700 area, is that every time price gets into this area, it rejected, and now we're starting to see some rejections at this area. So that's pretty much the data that I've gotten off the weekly time frame, and that's all I pretty much need, right? I can also see that we had this neckline that got broken with an impulse, and potentially look for price to come back down to retest this area. So that's the data that I'm gathering on the weekly time frame to then come up with the thesis of, okay, what can I expect to happen this week inside of the market. But I'm not going to just go off of my weekly time frame. I need to gather all of the data from every single time frame to then come up with that overall thesis, right? So on my daily time frame, you can see here, I'm on this overall downtrend. So you can see here we formed a series of lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right? And then we can see here on the daily time frame as well, we had this big bearish engulfing candle on Thursday, and then on Friday we had sort of some type of wick exhaustion here, right? So that let us know, okay, we're forming a level of support at this area on a daily time frame, but we're kind of pretty much consolidating because we're sitting in this overall box right here. So with that being in mind, that lets me know there's a high probability chance that we could continue to push further down to the downside as long as we break this level of support that we're currently sitting on a daily time frame, right? So I'm going to go ahead and show my charts just so you pretty much can see visual representation. So you can see here that we had this level of support. This level of support gets broken, then we could look to carry it to the next level of support or resistance, right? So now on my 4-hour time frame, you can see here that we were currently in this overall uptrend. So we were forming a series of higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. But we've been sitting in this overall consolidation, just like I've been talking about on a daily time frame, right? So this right here is our most recent higher low point based upon this overall structure. So until this previous higher low point gets broken, then that lets us know that we're still technically in the uptrend. So price could still come all the way here and then push up to the upside. So we just have to be real mindful of that. But we can see here though, if we do break this level of support, that this next level right here where this structure level is at will be the next intended target. So even if we do break beneath this, we still could take sell opportunities. Why? Because we can take advantage of the smaller moves that make up the bigger picture, right? So now that I have this data on the 4-hour time frame, I can see that we had this level of support, and we know if we break and retest beneath it, then that's a quick sell opportunity. On my 1-hour time frame, price is pretty much telling me the same thing, right? So I don't really have too much to draw on my 1-hour time frame because I already pretty much have it marked up. So once you mark up your charts, the higher the time frames, the less you're gonna have to change. But you're only gonna have to change a few things once you get to the smaller time frames, the minor structure, which is the 15 minutes to 30 minutes, because those change more periodically because it's minor structure, so it doesn't take as long to play out. But the major structure, of course, it's gonna take days, weeks, even sometimes months to play out. So of course, you're not gonna have to change 4-hour zones, daily zones all the time, if that makes sense, right? So on our 30-minute time frame, you can see here we could gather a little bit more data. So on a 30-minute time frame, you can see, all right, we're starting to form this divergence So here we have the RSI going up, and then the market is pushing down. So that's like pretty much a reversal sign inside the market. So within this 30-minute time frame, that lets us know there's a high probability chance that the market can reverse from this area. So now that I understand this chart pattern right here, this descending channel, that lets me know, okay, I could potentially be looking for buy opportunities once we have a break of structure. So we can see here, this is pretty much what I'm looking for. So I have this green line illustrating this previous lower high point based upon this little minor structure downtrend. So we had a series of lower lows and lower high points being formed. So as long as we break and retest above this, then I could potentially look to carry this to this next zone. So that's like the right now move of the market, because why? We are like, this is the 30-minute time frame. So like I'm taking it step by step, but I gathered the data that I needed from the higher time frames to then come up with the alternate scenario as well. So I know that on my higher time frames that we are sitting at this major level of support. So if we break beneath this level of support and retest it, then we know we're coming pretty much down to this area right here based off our higher time frames. So that's pretty much how you like analyze and understand like, okay, what is about to happen next. So you got to go time frame by time frame by time frame to then gather all of the data that you need and then come up with a thesis of what's the highest probability of happening next. So we can see here based off of this overall being at this main structure support and also giving us this reversal pattern right here that there's a high probability chance that the market can push up. But I'm only going to take buys at this area once we break above this level of resistance and retest it, then we could potentially look to carry it up to this zone right here. And this is NAS 100, so this is a nice move. So from here to the zone is 115 points. So that's a great move. That's a great move to start the week. So when I'm doing my markups, I'm not trying to predict the whole, I'm not trying to predict the whole weekend ahead. I'm trying to predict, not even predict, I'm trying to make a thesis of what's about to happen next for the next few days. Because I don't care what happens in 2 weeks or a week from now, X, Y, and Z, like that doesn't matter to me. I need to know what's about to happen right now in the market so I can then capitalize on it. Then that way I don't get too attached. So say for instance, you guys see me do my ghost patterns all the time. If I come over here and say, oh, NAS is about to do something like this, and I try to predict, oh, it's coming all the way up here, that's like, if I take this same ghost pattern and see, that's 14 days. That's looking too far into the future. I don't need to pretty much look at that. Like it doesn't matter to me what happens in those 14 days. So right now, based off the data that I can see, the very first step is that the market is coming up to this level right here. Once we break and retest here, then we're gonna look to price to come up here. So if I had to give a ghost pattern, I would give something like this. Oops, nope, I don't like that one. So we looking for a break and a retest. So I'll come over here, break and a retest to go higher. So something like this. Same thing that I have on this overall like arrow tool. So that is the scenario if and only if we can break above this level of resistance. If we come to this level of resistance and we reject it, then we know that we're still heading down. Why? Because we're still in an overall downtrend. So we can't just look to take buys because we think it's going up. We have to wait for the market to tell us, okay, we're going up. Like the market will literally wave at you and say, hey, Lido, I'm about to go up because I just broke structure. So once you have that indication, then that's a sign for you to take advantage of that move. But if it never gives you that sign, then you don't take it, like you won't take advantage of that move, and that's how you don't lose, right? So that's pretty much the bias that we have. If we can break above, so we'll type this out, if we break and retest above, then we look for buys to purple zone. But we know the alternative, our second scenario is that, okay, if we break this level of support, come back to retest it, then we're coming down to here, right? So that's pretty much the analysis or pretty much the thought process behind what I do on a day in and day out basis, right? So let's go ahead and run over US 30 real quick so I can give you guys some insight on US 30 as well. So same concept, weekly time frame here. All right, on the weekly time frame, we have a lot of exhaustion at this area as well. We can see here that we have doji for the last 3 weeks. That lets us know on a smaller time frame, price is now consolidating, right? So we have to be mindful of that. On a daily time frame, pretty much the same story. We're consolidating. We got a lot of wick exhaustion to the bottom side, so we could potentially see a push up. But if we break beneath these levels of support right here, then we know there's a high probability chance that we're coming down to this area right here. So on the daily time frame, I pretty much already have that illustrated. Now on a 4-hour time frame, we can see here we kind of in between this like wedge pattern. So we have this trend line here. That price is pretty much in between these two gray lines, and then we also have this black trend line right here. So that's something that you need to be mindful of. So like every line that you draw on your chart is supposed to tell you a story. If you don't know how to pretty much do a top-down analysis, go ahead and watch my top-down analysis. I'll put the card up here at the top of the video so you guys can refer to that. But every line I talk about in that video, every line that you draw on your chart is supposed to tell you a story. So the story here on this black trend line is every time price came here, it bounced and bounced. So depending on how I draw this trend line, either if I connect it to the closing of the candle or the wicks, it kind of tells me a different story. So I'm kind of skeptical on this trend line right now, so I need a little bit more data to confirm. So you can see here, like I said, we've been in this overall consolidation, but for the most recent price, we can see here that we have this overall downtrend here. So the market is forming a series of lower lows and lower high points on this smaller time frame. So with that being in mind, that lets me know that, okay, if price comes up to this trend line and respects it again, then I can look for the market to potentially push down. And also this is a level of resistance. So if price comes up to this level of resistance and rejects, then we could potentially be looking for sales until we break above and retest this to look to go higher. So similar how we talked about NAS, we have to break that level of resistance to say that we're going to go up. Same concept here. You do not want to take a buy right here because why? You have this trend line, and that trend line is acting as a diagonal level of resistance. And we also have a level of resistance, a horizontal level of resistance. So that lets us know that, okay, every time price came here, it bounced, it bounced, it bounced. So why wouldn't price bounce here in this area? So that's kind of how like the thought process you guys have to have. So if we reject this area, this zone, and this trend line, that's why I have this watch price here, text tool. If we rejected this area, then we can look for price to push down. But if we break through impulsively, then we look for a correction and then look for a continuation. So with US 30, you see I only have this ghost pattern coming right here because that's the only pretty much that's as far as I can see price going right now because I need more data. So I need to see is price going to break above and retest, then I'll take buys. If price rejects down here and then if price rejects here and then breaks beneath the minor structures, then I'll look to sell it down. So it's pretty much simple. You pretty much have to just take the market by, if this happens, I'm going to do this. If this happens, I'm going to do that. So don't overcomplicate it, guys. It pretty much comes with the experience though. So you have to trust yourself, right? So you have to come up with a system and have a set of rules in place so that you make sure you're following your rules when these type of things occur. So I hope this video was super helpful. If you guys need some more insight, definitely tune into the rest of my videos. I hope you guys enjoyed the day in the life video. I've been getting a lot of great feedback and I really, really appreciate that. So that's going to make me want to give you guys more and more content. So stay tuned for the next video. And also, you guys that left some feedback inside of my Telegram chat, I definitely noticed that and I greatly appreciate what you guys are doing inside of my Telegram with that feedback. So don't feel like you guys are going unnoticed because every single video that you guys recommended, I'm definitely taking note of that. So like I said, I hope this video was super helpful and let's impact the world, guys. Let's go ahead and get this channel to 10K subscribers, and then we get to 50K subscribers, then we get to 100K subscribers because I'm trying to help everybody that visits my channel. So I appreciate you all. Have a good night.